Yes.
You're from where?
I am not from an airline, but I work with airlines as well. And I've
Okay.
worked with SATA when I was with CITA.
Okay. Okay.
So I know very well Paulo Ornelas and Mário Chaves.
Ah, okay. Okay. Okay.
Nice.
Great. That was already the commercial break. Thank you for that, Fatima. Ladies and gentlemen, warm welcome from pretty gray Berlin, Germany. My name is Daniel Stecher, Vice President, Airline Operations, Aviation Software. It's the last aviation women panel from 2022, unfortunately, but good news. We are going to proceed also in 2023 with a lot of guest speakers. And today we have Teresa Gonçalves from Grupo SATA. She's the Chief Financial Officer, and she is talking today beyond the operations. So we have round about 55 minutes because, Teresa, you have to catch a flight over the pond. So stage is yours.
Okay. So I will share the presentation. Okay. You already seeing?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I will talk about some of all the operations beyond the operations, all the work we have beyond the operations, because that's the area where I'm focusing. So I'll try to give some feedback on what we do, the importance of these areas, and some things that my experience here in SATA with the process of the European Commission, of the restructuring of the group, so that you can understand a little bit the importance of these areas that are beyond the curtain of the operation. So, but first of all, I would like to present you and to give you some idea about where we are and who we are. And I will be very, very brief. Azores we are in Azores. Azores is a region in the middle of the Atlantic with 9 islands. And as you can see, we have here the islands in the square. And I put here some images of the island, because this is a very wonderful islands, and it's a very sustainable destiny. So we are in the middle of North America and Europe, more or less, and SATA is the company of the regional government, and we have 3 companies. We have 2 airlines, and one company that manages the airfields of some islands. We have the main company that is the holding company today, that is SATA Açores, and SATA Açores makes all the inter-island traffic. And we have SATA International, SATA Azores Airlines, that does all the routes with North America and Europe, and also with the mainland Portugal. SATA Açores has a public service obligation, so it's a very simple business. SATA Azores Airlines has been performing in the market with TAP, with Ryanair, and with other companies that come to Azores. Then we have the company that manages the airfield, SATA Aeródromos, in some different islands. I think that it's important that we have in mind that the back office areas, like finance, human resources, IT, revenue accounting, and all those areas are extremely important for the business, and are extremely important to manage and to guide the companies. And this is applicable to all the companies, not just airlines, but all the companies, because we control the day-to-day business, we control the financials, we have to be aligned with all the organization. We have, but I will talk a little bit more about this in the next slide. The thing is that the airlines have to deal with several trends that made some specific challenges for them. And I tried to put here some of the challenges that airlines are dealing with: increasingly dynamic global markets, the digital age with disruptive technologies, a need to refine and streamline business models, the growing importance of alliances and consolidations in this sector, the escalating customer demands. Customers are more and more demanding in their needs, and also we have to deal with the volatile and uncertain fuel prices environment. And this makes that we airlines need to be more agile, more customer centric, and resilient. And we saw this with the COVID, and we see that it's very important. And we need to have some changes in our structures to allow this. And it's also crucial that the back office functions are aligned with these changes and with these challenges. The thing is that the back office areas are behind the curtain and are not related directly with the customer, but they are essential to guarantee the operations. And I put here an example that I think it's a good example, and because the back office areas are not the engine or the wheels or the steering wheels of the car, but they can ensure that everything works in tune. And their role in the company is exactly the axle that holds the wheels of the car. So this said, I think that in the back office areas and in all the areas that I have with me, we need to deal directly with the maintenance, because they cannot do any investment without talking with us to coordinate when they can pay the investments, or if they are able to do the investment. We have to deal with the customer service, because they need to guarantee that we can have the refunds to the customers, and it's viable to do the things and compromise with the deadlines that they want. We need to work directly with the operations, because if we don't pay the fuel, the planes don't fly. So I think it's important that we have in mind that it's fundamental for the areas to work together, the operations to work together with the finance area. Also, it's fundamental for them to work together with human resources, because human resources will choose the workers and the people that is going to be selected to the operations. And it's fundamental that we have we will all work together, and because these areas, these back office areas, allow them to plan to see if they are complying with the budget. We do several analyses to see if there are some cost deviations. So it's important to work together with these areas. And I put here some points that I think that are relevant, because back office areas ensure improved efficiency and decision making. Most of the times we define the budget, we define the timings, we define how to do things and when to do things, and it's important and we assure that the things are being controlled. Reduced costs of running operations, because we are always trying to monitor and to see if the costs are if the company is performing well or not, and try to manage this. Identification of revenue leakage areas and sale growth opportunities. We have revenue accounting that allows us to control the revenues, and also the treasury to see if we are receiving everything that we are selling. Regulatory compliance, and I will explain you in just a few minutes, but One of the main areas that we are now concentrating is the compliance and the governance, and this has been each even more important area. Improved cash flow through detection of unrealized revenue, and here it's one of our most important things is to control the cash flow and to see if we are not performing everything we need to do to have to maximize our cash flow, and enhance bottom line through billing accuracy measures. And I think it's important for us to define here some measures and to guarantee that we are having all the potential we can. When I came to SATA, we had the back office areas organized like you see here in the slide before. We had a legal department, a data protection officer, the financial that has all the accounting, the treasury, the revenue accounting. We had the planning and control, the customs clearance, IT, and procurement. And what I saw in the first place was that there was no monitoring about some areas, especially in the financial area. There was no control in most of the processes. So we decided to change the organization and to change some areas. First, we created two important areas in the company that were not that didn't exist. One was the cybersecurity. Even more, it's very important to have this area to control the systems, the information, and to guarantee that all the things are working well, and to prevent some attacks, or I don't know. It's impossible to have 100% security, but we are doing our path and we are trying to do the best we can. In Portugal, we have had several attacks to several companies, and it's important to control this. We also created a new area with that guarantees the governance and legal compliance. And when I came to SATA, we saw that there were no policies, there were no regulations, internal regulations, and we needed to be in line with what was defined in the legislation. So we needed to create this to guarantee that we are all doing the same, and we know what we are doing, and we know how we can comply with the different rules. So we created this area, and we are working a lot in this because we are working not only in the legal area of the compliance, but also we are working in the social area. We are trying to have some policies to guarantee more benefits and more equality to our workers. For example, we are working hard in the mental health for our workers, creating a program. We are going to implement an app that will measure the steps that each employee makes, and then this app will convert the steps in something to give to some organizations or some social entities that need some support. So we are trying to do several things in this governance and social area. And then I separated the areas, the accounting and tax, the revenue accounting, the corporate finances, planning and control, customs. I tried to separate this to have some focus on a specific area, because otherwise there was no control. And we created a shared service organization, which has the human resources operations with all the booking office to book the flights to the crew and to the workers that need to go abroad, and also that makes the payment of the salaries. We have contract management. we created this area to have all the contracts that are signed in the organization and to control each contract. And now we know when some contract will end, when I need to renew a contract. So we have all this monitored, and you put all the other areas in these shared services: the procurement, IT, and the third parties management, clients and suppliers. And with this organization, I think that we are now able to have a more control in terms of the financial area, in terms of the human resources area. We don't have here the management of human resources. We just have the part of the operations, the salaries and other things, as I explained. But this structure allowed us to control better the different areas, and allowed us to have a better control in the payments we have, in the treasury, in the revenue accounting that is very essential for the airline companies. And I think now things are working much better. The organization of these back office areas was fundamental for us because SATA has been through a process of state aid within the European Commission, and we had a restructuring plan approved on June 2022. We have been for 2 years to discuss this, more or less 2 years to discuss this plan. The restructuring plan was approved, and we are now implementing all the measures because the back office areas needed to negotiate with suppliers some savings, some payment plans. We needed to negotiate with the banks all the loans and adjust all the debt we had. We needed to comply with some obligations that the Commission was imposing to us, and this was all in this area. And with this organization, I think we could monitor this better, and it allowed us to control the results we were having. So this process with the European Commission had been very interesting because we had to go to the banks and try to get some financing, some with guarantee of the regional government, some without the guarantee of the regional government. And it was a very interesting process, and also a very important process because we had the opportunity to define exactly what were our main objectives in the company, and we had the opportunity to define where we wanted to go. And the discussions with the banks and the discussions with the other entities, the suppliers, the clients, were very important to be able to have the results of the plan that we negotiated with the Commission, and that was approved. And this had been a very challenging process with the company. What we see is that these back office areas had a relevant role in all this process, because we without these negotiations, without this work that was done behind the curtains and behind all the operations, it was not possible to continue to operate. And so sometimes we work and no one knows what we are doing, but I think we are making the difference in the company, and we are relevant, and our work is extremely important. So, and that's why I just put here this slide. It's not, but it's just to say that the back office consists of support functions that keep the business and front office running smoothly. A firm approach to streamlining back office operations will result in better overall practices, productivity maximization, and waste minimization, because if we define good processes, if we define good ways to do things and to work with, I think that the operations will benefit with this. And we are present in all the situations. For example, we had to renew our insurance with the insurance we have with the planes. Without our renewal and without the negotiation we had, the planes could not go to anywhere. So because they need the certificate to fly. So these areas are not considered very important because are not the areas that are in the front of the business, but they are very relevant because they are doing all the work very, very smoothly and without any knowledge from the ones that look to the company outside to the company. So I
have a question, Teresa.
Yes.
I love what I'm reading there. So productivity maximization and waste of minimization. So every month you are signing the bill for the fuel. Every month you are signing the bill for, let's say, human resource, which is also pilots and cabin crew. Every month you sign the bill for passenger compensation claims. Every month you are signing the bill for crew training, simulator slots, and all that stuff. Are you somehow then assign the, let's say, looking into the details where costs can maybe optimized and waste can be reduced? Or is it that the operations department and the other departments, they come to you and say, hey, we need some more money for an investment into, for example, digitization in order to avoid waste in the future? So maybe you can describe a bit this balance between you overlooking the current resource utilization and the spending for it, and on the other hand, giving resources in terms of money for the future improvement.
Okay, so we usually have a budget that we approve in the beginning of each year, and each area, the operational areas, knows exactly where they will spend the money and what they will do, and then we start doing the work. Every month we look to the accounts and we see what is happening. Every week I sit with my team and I see where are we expending money, what projects are being developed, and if something is going out of the normal way, we talk with the areas and we try to understand what is happening, what will be the impact in the next weeks, to understand what will be the impact in a certain month, and we try to coordinate. For example, we created meetings with the maintenance. The maintenance is probably our biggest cost after fuel, and we create meetings with the maintenance. To regular meetings. I think some are weekly, some are monthly, to understand what is projected and what are the events that were not projected and they will need to spend some money, and then we need to evaluate. I create usually in SATA. If some area needs to develop something, an app, or to invest in an application, or to do something relevant that has a significant cost, usually they always come to talk with me before any decision, because otherwise it's not viable for us. So we have our money controlled, and we need to know exactly where are we spending our money, and how are we spending our money, and we need to do a very rational decision making. So all the areas, handling area, maintenance, IT, operations, if they all have to spend money in something that was not already contemplated in the budget. They came to speak with me, and we together see if it's feasible or not to go with some investment or some decision. Sometimes it's so important that we have to go, and we have to adjust our financials. But sometimes, well, we need to evaluate if that's really important or not, and if not, well, it stay in the second stage. If it's really important, we see how we can go through the investment or the cost that area is asking. So I don't know if I answer you, but we have a very a good relation with all the areas, and any area cannot do any investment without talking with me or with the person that is responsible for the planning and control to control the investments that need to be done. So that's one thing that we could implement in SATA. That is a control in the costs that the areas need to do. So.
And are you also then getting advice from outside the company, in a sense? Because let's say if you want to change within the family, usually it's always difficult because nobody really wants to change. So are you somehow benchmarking your own processes and your own spending with other airlines, or do you say, oh, we are SATA, we fly in a different sphere than any other airline, we are so unique, and you always try to keep it within the family?
No. We benchmark a lot. The board of SATA has a big experience in airline companies. The other two board members were former airline board members from other airline companies, and they have a big experience, and we always compare with what is being done in the other airlines, the cost for other airlines, and we see if it's feasible or not, and if it makes sense or not, the cost that we are incurring in. So we don't think that we have a different situation. We are, just because we are in the middle of the Atlantic, I think that we have a rational decision making, and we compare the costs, and we see, for example, to give you an idea, when we presented the business plan to the European Commission, one of the things that we've done was a benchmark to compare with the similar companies as SATA, and to see where we are in terms of CASK, in terms of RASK, in terms of other metrics. And we tried to compare and to see how we could perform to comparing the other companies. So I think that no, we never take a decision just without any guidance. Yeah.
Thank you. By the way, is there any other question from the audience? Please just raise your hand, and I will help Teresa to orchestrate your questions. No questions till now. You stop screen sharing, Teresa?
Yes, because I don't have more slides.
Good,
so,
good. But that's quite interesting that you say you are benchmarking with other airlines. And can you then also describe a little bit this change process from the finance perspective? So you see maybe a potential of cost savings in the future. So how are you then implementing new things within the organization? What is your experience there? Is it more a push, or is it that the other departments are very happy that they get a budget allocated for an innovation? How is the balance between the departments?
We are trying to implement several things here in SATA and several innovations, and we have been working with the IT, and all the areas have been working with the IT team to develop new ways of doing things. And what we do is we have been betting in developing paper-free apps that help us to save some money in other things. We developed several apps to, for example, pay the passengers when we cancel a flight or we cancel something. They can submit in an app the complaint or the irregularity to be paid. So we have been working with the areas to identify this. Regarding the savings with the suppliers, for example, and I can give you the experience that I had in the process with the European Commission. The European Commission said you have to give you have to have some savings, a percentage of savings to contribute to this plan. So we needed to all our contracts and to see where we can save and which suppliers we can talk with. When we arrived to SATA had a huge amount of debt to suppliers. And we needed to start talking with each other to define some plans, to payment plans, and try to include in these payment plans the not to pay the interest or cut some percentage of the debt and try to pay in a faster way. So, but this was a work that was done with the operational areas because they identified some key suppliers, but also with us that need to go through all the contracts and see where we can save. But input of the operational areas was fundamental for us. For example, we negotiate all our fleet from SATA International. And it was fundamental for us to work with the operational area that has these contracts. And we could have some interesting savings and some contracts. Our contracts were renegotiated. We had new planes, and it was very interesting the savings that we could get with all these negotiations. But we had to work close with the operational area in this process. So. And sometimes the areas came to us and they had already identified some things to do, and we work together. Sometimes we identify some things to do, and we go there and talk with them, and we try to work together with them also to have the best result for the company. That's what we've been doing.
So as a CFO, you get, of course, plenty of proposals from any kind of supplier to either increase revenues or to decrease cost. So how do you sort out the necessary from the unnecessary? What needs to be formulated that it resonates with you and that you say, oh, this is really something, an area we should look into it?
Yeah, well, I receive lots of proposals to reduce costs and to increase revenues. When we came and just before, when we came to SATA, we saw that more than a problem of cost problem, we had a revenue problem because SATA was not maximizing the revenue, and we started to work on that stream. Once I talked with a company that said that could help us to save a lot of money in some contracts with our suppliers, and this was after after our negotiation with some suppliers. And when I start talking with that company, I start to see that the negotiations we had made and the talks we had been doing with suppliers were more efficient and more profitable than what they were proposing to us. And suddenly I decided that internally we have a good team. We have an excellent team that identifies the problems and that knows exactly how to deal with the costs. And we have an excellent team to maximize the revenue. So honestly, I don't care about the proposals that I usually receive from other parties. Because we have been doing an excellent work. For you to have an idea, we had some revenues included in the business plan with the European Commission. In 2021, we were more or less 20% above the revenue that was defined in the business plan. And in 2022, we will be also far above of the revenue that was defined in the plan with the European Commission. So we have been performing very well in terms of results. Unfortunately, we have the fuel problem. The costs are very high. We didn't have the opportunity to have any hedging or anything regarding this because, as you can see, we were just negotiating a rescue plan, a state aid. So we're not in a position to start having some hedging in the fuel. So we were caught in these high fuel prices. But internally, we have an excellent team that does an excellent work in terms of revenue and in terms of costs. And we don't work with the external entities, lots of external entities. Of course, we work in some specific issues, but we work with the internal resources we have.
So to translate this, don't call us, we call you if we need something from you.
Exactly. That's it. Exactly. That's it.
Claire, you raised your hand.
Yes. Well, first want to say thank you for the presentation. And I completely agree of the importance of the back office function at the airline. At my previous airline, Southwest, a big part of the reason Southwest was profitable for the majority of the years when the other airlines weren't was our CFO at the time, Gary Kelly, who later became CEO, heavily hedged the fuel for Southwest. So there's a history of, billions of dollars that saved over the decades in fuel hedging. And Southwest, I believe, was one of the only airlines to do that at first. So that really kind of was the foundation of the success for the airline for many years. The focus on people and the operation and all of those other things, but you can't have all of that if you can't fund it. And that was really how the airline funded it. So it's definitely an interesting opportunity. My question is, I saw on your LinkedIn profile that you came from telecom for the first part of your career and then more recently into the airline industry. What was most surprising to you coming into the airline industry, especially for, a smaller airline where you said that they had a lot of opportunities? What was most surprising to you?
Well, I was in the richest sector in telecom. So telecom is a cash cow. We don't have problems with cash, never. And my biggest understanding of the airlines is that the airline is in the end of the supply chain, and we suffer a lot because everybody in the supply chain is winning money, and the airline in the end cannot have big margins, and that was the biggest problem because we have to pay all the bills during the process. And the airline is very squeezed in terms of the margins it can have, and this was the biggest challenge because in the telecom we have access to everything because it was a cash cow. We never had any problems with cash. We if we needed to do some study or if we needed to do some. I was in M&A, in the M&A, and in M&A we made several research and business development in other countries, and there was no problem because we have access to all the information, we have access to all the areas and the studies we needed, and in the airlines we have the money very controlled, so we have to be very selective in where we will spend the money, but. I think that the biggest problem, the biggest challenge is that the airline is in the end of the supply chain, and so we are in the worst position of all because everybody wins money, and the airline doesn't have much space to have because we cannot increase the price of the tickets so high that the passengers don't fly. So this has been the biggest challenge.
That's really interesting, and I think is probably very different from most people's perceptions of airlines because, You know, if you look at the media, I don't know how it is in Portugal, but at least in the US, the media loves to beat up on airlines and talk about how greedy they are and you know, how much money they're making. And that is quite cyclical and it's always kind of hanging by a thread, I think.
I think probably they don't have the vision of all the players that are in the process, right? And because we have to the catering, we have to pay the catering, we have to pay the handlers, we have to pay, well, we have the lessors, we have to pay so many entities. For example, we can have the fuel tax that we can include in the ticket of the passenger. But then we cannot increase this. We cannot reflect all the fuel costs in the ticket. Otherwise,
Oh, now she's frozen. Is it only? Ah, now you're back. Okay, good.
okay. Sorry. I was saying that we cannot reflect all the fuel increase in the ticket price. So I think that sometimes they say that airlines win a lot and have lots of gains because they don't have the real perception of all the costs that we have. And well, I never saw an airline with huge. Well, there are some, but most of them don't have huge profits, I think.
And is there something the industry can learn from telecommunication?
In telecommunications, we had when I arrived to SAT, I don't know if it's only in SAT, but when I arrived to SAT, I saw that they did the budget for the airline and they did everything, but they never controlled the execution of the budget, and each area never controlled if it was going well or not, and if it was spending more or less. In telecom, it was very rigid, and we had the budgets with all the things that the money, the investments that we would spend, and it was we made a very rigid control of the budget. In airlines, it has been very difficult. We started to implement it. We are working with the teams, but I think that in the telecom the things were more developed in terms of controlling the values in the budgets. Here there are always some unpredictable things that we cannot control, and it's different, completely different.
Any question from Azadeh, from Fatima, Teresa, Pelin, Andrea, Sharina?
Well, I don't have quite a question, but I was just, you know, I have been looking at the evolution also and progress from SAT Airlines because and Azores Airlines, because it was really very interesting for me to see the evolution, how it improved. And I am always I mean, I love Azores because it's really a beautiful island. So you really need to go there because it's wonderful, and you should not miss it. So, and regarding SATA, in fact, what I've been seeing is that it has been improving a lot, increasing a lot the revenues and the number of customers, passengers. And this is something very interesting for me, because at the beginning, when I worked a little bit with SATA, it was more focused on, as you said, in reducing a lot of costs and managing the contracts with suppliers to understand if they could reduce many costs. But I see that now also it has been the model has been more also to increase the revenue, and this is something that is very interesting to see and to learn. And as I'm talking to the CFO, normally you need to improve, to reduce the cost. You need also to optimize everything, of course, to be more efficient. And it was very interesting to listen to you, because I could realize how the back office and everything and all the people from increasing the revenue have been working together. And this is something that is really a lesson, and also lessons learned, and also that we can share with other companies how people can work together, not only revenue increasing, but also reducing costs and optimizing everything and efficiency. So I think it's a case study and also a success story for a company like SATA and the airlines in general. So I just wanted to make this remark.
Any other question from the audience? Good. So then, Teresa, you have to catch your flight. You fly to Boston, you said?
Yes, I'm flying to Boston. We have operation there, and we have a store there. So we have sometimes we have to go there to talk with our team and to have some contacts with the market.
So then I wish you a good flight. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you very
your
much.
presentation.
And Merry Christmas, everyone.
I liked it very much, and I hope we see each other healthy and successful in a peaceful 2023. This was the last Aviation Women panel in 2022, and I hope you have a good transition into the new year, and then we start in January with the next Aviation Women panel. It was a fantastic year of Ladies Beyond Flying. We are just 3 members short of being 900. So maybe next week we have the next achievement of being 900 members, and then of course we want to reach the 1,000 members, and that would be good to have you all with us. So please stay healthy and safe, and if you know somebody who is smart, upbeat, positive, and enthusiastic, please spread the word about Ladies Beyond Flying. So take care, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas. Thank
Bye bye.
you.
Thank you.